You're listening to The Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In Major League Baseball, the Brewers beat the Dodgers 6-4 in a battle of division leaders. The NL Central leaders, Milwaukee, get the split of the four-game series against the NL West leaders. Dodgers' lead in the division is down to 2 games on San Diego and Arizona. Both had Thursday off. Phillies beat the Nationals 13-3 with 29-year-old rookie Weston Wilson hitting for the cycle for Philadelphia, just the 10th in franchise history. Orioles beat the Red Sox 5-1. Baltimore moves into a tie with idle New York for first in the AL East. Boston drops 2.5 back of idle Kansas City for the final wildcard spot in the American League. Braves were shut out by the Giants 6-0, while the Mets fall to the A's 7-6. So Atlanta still has a 2-game lead on New York for the final wildcard spot in the National League. Mariners lose to the Tigers 3-1. Seattle gets swept in the 3-game series. They're now 3 games back of idle Houston in the race for first in the AL West. And the Twins edge the Rangers 3-2. Minnesota moves 4 games back of idle Cleveland for the top spot in the AL Central.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick it, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports. It is Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. It is the Martin Houston Show powered by Box Eye Care. 205-342 0660. Visit boxeyecare.com. They have an extended lab, extensive in-house lab, I should say, that will help you have the greatest selection. It will also help you get the best service, as they are able to get you in and out with a great new look, in most cases in an hour. Sometimes I have to send them off, but they will take care of you either way. Great prices, more options, greater service, and that is Box Eye Care, located at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive down on Highway 69. So go check them out. Daniel Box, OD, and his team, they are there to serve you. Dr. Box Eye Care, powering the Martin Houston Show each and every day. All right, let's remember that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, and be the difference you want to see in the world today. And so you can get in on the conversation that way, 205-342-9904. That's the hotline. Or you can comment in the chat, react in the chat, questions in the chat. Whichever way you want to interact, it is 100% up to you. So let's make sure that you're ready, ready to do that this morning. So as we move forward, got some great topics lined up for you, but of course it's a free-for-all Friday, powered by the pharmacy at Midtown. TJ and his team look forward to serving you. We'll tell you a little bit more about them in a moment, but it is a free-for-all Friday powered by the pharmacy at Midtown. And so let's go ahead and bring X into the show, and I'll share a few more topics with you. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Glad to be back in Tuscaloosa. Glad to be back home, I should say, and getting a lot of feedback. Glad to be back in my home studio, where I have a little bit more control. It was interesting. I appreciate everybody hanging with me the last few days as I was down in Orlando getting certified as a coach, X, with the John Maxwell team. So I'm now officially a John Maxwell team member, certified speaker, coach, and trainer. So I'll share more about that as we move forward each and every day. So, but yeah, really excited about that. But glad to be back. Glad to have you back as well. Topics that I had for today is, of course, as I said, scrimmage coming up tomorrow. Second big scrimmage. I'm trying to figure out what's the identity of this team. Who to keep your eyes on inside the coaching staff and more. And also really excited about last night as we kicked off the West Alabama High School preview show. I know we had a couple of our listeners on. If you were able to catch the show last night, give us a shout out. But that's going to be the next 2 weeks will be at 7 on Thursday, and then the next week will be at after that it'll be at 6 o'clock. So, all right. Well, X, anything jumping out at you? Anything you want to catch up from yesterday since we did not have the recruiting yesterday?
Yeah, there's two big things on the horizon. As far as recruiting goes for Alabama, and that's for the running back position. We have Shakai Mills-Knight, the 4-star running back out of Tennessee, the former high school teammate of Alabama true freshman Amari Jefferson. He will be committing on Saturday, and he is down to Ole Miss, Miami, Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama. But in that order? That's the 5 schools, and that's how they're listed. Okay. That's how they were listed when I wrote it down.
Okay. All right.
And then the one we've all been waiting for, running back Kalen Deere out of Mississippi, is committing on August 20th. He is between Ole Miss, Alabama, and Mississippi State. We are finally going to get an answer come next week.
So Ole Miss stayed in the fray, even though he decommitted?
Yeah, people expected that for them to still be in it.
They're paying over there, ain't it, boy? Just kidding. So is Ole Miss the only one that we're competing against both of those guys for? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out if the young man is going. What's his name for Saturday?
Shakai Mills-Knight.
All right, if Knight goes to Ole Miss, then that probably increases our chances here with Deere. Not, I guess it's wide open. And I'm looking, and I get it. I have to remember that today is a whole new world, X. It's just hard for me to imagine a running back based on Alabama's history Yeah, that a running back would choose another school over Alabama, especially when they're going to compete against Alabama year in and year out. But it's a whole new world. So I have to remember that some of these kids are making a decision for their money today and not their money for the future. And you can't blame them, in that sense. And I don't know if you saw was Tennessee on the night kids list?
Yes.
Did you see where it's going to be interesting. That may be a good free-for-all question. Pilot has signed a multi-year deal with the University of Tennessee for stadium rights and field rights and all of that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see who gets that deal for Alabama and how they play it out. That's going to be really weird to start looking at college fields and see SEC logo on one side and, the team logo in the middle. Hopefully they don't, some probably will sell that and prostitute the team logo in the middle of the field. But then, or whoever that sponsor is on the other side. You think Nike is going out to Oregon's and can throw in even more money that way?
Oh, 100%. Would not surprise me.
You see what I'm saying? That's what's going to be interesting to see is who will be that company for the University of Alabama, and how do they decide, man? If I'm a sponsor, man, I'm throwing money at Alabama right now. Or maybe Alabama X, maybe they're waiting to see how DeBoer does before they make a long-term commitment. If DeBoer comes out and wins, Alabama will be one of the hottest tickets going in terms of sponsorship and field sponsorships and stadium rights and all of that. So, because they're going to be on TV if we're winning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anything else you have for recruiting before we get out of here?
No, that's really the only news that's come out recently as far as Alabama's concerned.
All right. Let's get to break here. As we go to break, I want to remind you that we have great sponsors, and you can join our winning roster of sponsors, whether it be for the Martin Houston Show or the West Alabama High School Pigskin Preview Show. You can join the folks like North River Timber Company. If you got timberland in West Alabama, Courtney White, a registered forester since 2011, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties, and that number continues to grow. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Call North River Timber Company today at 205-242-5127 or email them at North River Timber Company, and that is North River Timber CO @gmail.com. And Courtney White says, timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. North River Timber Company is waiting on your call today.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you. We do have a situation in Coker right now. McFarland westbound before Highway 140. Do watch out for this accident. It's got the left lane blocked at Boswell Road specifically. Otherwise, we got construction zones on McWright's Ferry Road extension.
DEAL or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department.
Huddle is your insight into your local prep sports program and is brought to you by Venue Tuscaloosa, Arkley GMC, and Legend Energy Drinks.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sky partially sunny today. The chance of scattered showers and strong thunderstorms this afternoon and tonight. The high today 93, tonight's low 74. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds with scattered showers and strong storms. The high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling. And we want to thank the great folks over at the pharmacy at Midtown. The pharmacy at Midtown, they sponsor our Free for All Friday. So it's a Free for All Friday brought to you courtesy of the pharmacy. You can check them out at Midtown. You can call them at 205-579-9933. 9930. Once again, that's 205-579-9933. They've been serving Tuscaloosa since 1984, and they can help with compounding. If you have a prescription that needs compounding made with you in mind, they offer free delivery. Let them bring it to you. Immunization shots as well, along with other services like long-term care, medication savings. Your health shouldn't have to break the bank. So if you're looking to get served, then new patients call the pharmacy at Midtown at 205-579-9933. All right, as we said, it's now time for our Free for All Friday conversation to begin as we open up the phone lines at 205-342-9904. Chuck, welcome in. How you doing, sir?
Yeah. Yes. Good morning to you, Brother Houston. Welcome back. And I'm going to tell you that your system did quite well while you were away from home. And I want to, my listening to you, watching and listening, your system held up real well. I wanted to let you know that. And congratulations. Yeah, congratulations on your certification. And, I always, they say, like you say, it's never too late for things. And my reason for calling is just kind of piggyback on what we were talking about yesterday when you were talking about Rich Rodriguez. I was thinking back about when he, at Jacksonville State, a guy that he didn't get a chance to become, he had made him offensive coordinator, but he passed away. That was 2 years ago. That was back when he got that was in 2022. He was his right-hand man. He was at West Virginia and Arizona, all this different stuff. And only at Michigan, he wasn't there at Michigan with him, was Calvin McGee. He was running backs coach and tight ends coach. And he played at Southern University of Baton Rouge. That's Gramblin's rival. And Calvin McGee was a tight end there at Southern. And he was, like I said, he was going to be at Jacksonville State. That's where he passed away in Jacksonville of a heart attack. And he was at Ole Miss. He and Rodriguez were at Ole Miss that one season together. And it just shows you how things go. Like I say, he was at Arizona. Grambling got a chance to experience Rodriguez. They came close to beating Arizona back in 2016. That team at Grambling came close to beating them in Tucson, but having the quarterback Devontae Kincaid got hurt, and that's what ended it all right there. And Grambling lost a close one to them. But I'm gonna land on this one. Alabama didn't get Rodriguez as head coach, but I look at DeBoer coming in. No telling what might come about it here. We're saying Coach Saban is gone, but I'm looking at the people that he has coming in. We never know what might happen when it comes time for the college football playoffs, and you never know. I believe that you all could still be in that number. I just want to land on that one.
Yes, sir. I think that Alabama, without a doubt, will be in the running for the college football playoffs. And last night I was being funny on the high school show. Chuck, you'll get a kick out of this. You know, I said one of the problems that Alabama high schools are facing is that they're going to have to find somewhere for the Super 7 to land. And that's where they play the tournaments, because I said Auburn Field may occasionally be taken up. Jordan-Hare Stadium may be occasionally taken up when Auburn has to host a home game. And I left Alabama out of that mix because I was being funny that Alabama will always be in the top 4, but Auburn might get in at the end. But that is. But anyway, thanks for that insight, Chuck. Appreciate you, sir.
You all have a great weekend. All right.
All right. Let's go to J-Rob. You've been patient. J-Rob, you're in with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind?
Happy Friday, guys. I hope all is well.
It is.
Always.
All right. We're Dallas Turner days away from Alabama football.
What about, you remember a guy named Donnie Finkley? See, I'm going to throw you back in the old school. What about Freddie Millens?
Freddie Millens didn't change to 1, didn't he? Didn't he change to 1 or 2 after that?
No, you're thinking A.C.
Millens?
Carter.
We got
You're
Ty
thinking A.C. Carter.
Also. You know, that's a new school. He just changed numbers this year. But those are some good ones. Bring up a lot of good memories. Tomorrow is going to be the last scrimmage, from what I understand. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I think they may have one more, but each scrimmage will go down in terms of what we call a scrimmage. This is the last. I call it the last big scrimmage. So.
What I'm looking for tomorrow is some successes on both sides of the ball, kind of like last week. No injuries, number one. Make sure they're organized and everybody knows where they're supposed to be, and just have some successes on both sides of the ball. And that's hopefully and get better. You know, that if you're not getting better, you're moving backwards. So that's what I'm hoping for tomorrow. What do you guys think about tomorrow?
X, I'll let you respond first, and then I got a question for you, J-Rob.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what you want to see. You want to see the offense and defense get a little bit better each week, and that's the litmus test for tomorrow. Just want to see more. I want to see more consistency, as you would put it, for both sides.
Yeah, J-Rob, I would ask you if you had to pick a group and you can only hang out with one group tomorrow, which group would it be?
I would say.
And why?
The offense, because of.
That's a whole team. You only get one position group.
One position group. Okay. Let's see. I guess it would be the offensive lineman. I'd want to hear what they're talking about, what kind of strategies they have on each player that's on the other side of the line, and what kind of successes and failures they think that they're having.
All right. I like that. So since you picked the offensive line group, J-Rob, we're going to talk a little bit about the offensive line, since that's the group, and see if I can help you get a little more insight while you're out there watching them and learning them and what to look for. Anything else you got before I let you go?
That's about it, Bart. I enjoyed the show. Y'all have a great weekend. Roll Tide.
All right. Appreciate you, J-Rob. Roll Tide. All right, X, let's look at that. Let's look at that offensive line. Since J-Rob said if he could only watch one position group, he would watch the offensive linemen. Right now, based on what you've seen and or heard, what grade you giving the offensive linemen?
I'll give them a B+ right now.
Interesting.
From what I've heard, they've had. They've given up some sacks and things, but I also believe that's due to how good and how deep our defensive line is. But you want to give them a little bit of room to improve throughout the rest of camp and as the season gets started.
All right. So let's talk about that B-plus grade. You're giving them a B-plus because of what you've seen and or heard. Only had one scrimmage, but we've, never had some other live action. And, coming from last week's scrimmage, you're hearing that it was pretty good containment and protection early on in the scrimmage. At the beginning of the scrimmage, a lot better protection and things like that. You heard Coach DeBoer say, they did create a little bit more pressure as the practice and the scrimmage went along. So the question you have to ask yourself is the following. Is that conditioning? Maybe. Is it scheme by the defense? Meaning, if you go back to the spring game, the defensive line and the defense was pretty vanilla, and then they started mixing things up. So is that what happened potentially, in the last scrimmage? And then is it just a matter of offensive linemen, to me, is the hardest group unless you have a returning group to jail. And so of those three, is it conditioning? Is it gelling? Or is it that defense, we're going to have a more difficult time dealing with defenses that move and stem and things like that until this group gels?
I think it's gelling, the continuity of it. Like you said, we have some really good players. You got 3 returning starters in Proctor, Booker, and Roberts. But we all know the guy that calls the plays is the center, and that's new in Parker Brailsford. And he didn't participate heavily in the spring. And then, of course, you have Wilkin Formby looking like the guy at right tackle. Still hearing there's a little competition there between him and Pritchett. But it seems like Formby's the guy as of right now, the first one that we'll see tried out against Western Kentucky. It's just the overall gelling and continuity that you have to work through.
Yeah, and we'll pick that conversation up and keep it going because you mentioned something that I thought Coach Cap's response was pretty interesting in regards to the right tackle battle. That position is not settled, but it's not settled because they don't have options. It's not settled because they have options, and we'll talk about that on the other side of the break, exactly what that means in terms of the options that they may have in terms of the Alabama offensive line. So as we continue to break down the scrimmage, we want to invite you to continue to hang with us. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can get in at 205-342-9904. Or you can add your thoughts and comments in chat. And as we go to break, want to remind you to get your legacy gear today. Get your officially licensed co-branded Alabama swag, the Martin Houston Legacy Collection, premium jerseys, caps, and more can be found at athletesthread.com. That's athletesthread.com/collections/Martin-Houston. If you tuned in on the live stream, just scan the QR code and it will take you there. We'll be back on the other side to keep the conversation rolling right here on the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you. We do have a situation in Coker right now. McFarland, westbound before Highway 140. Do watch out for this accident. It's got the left lane blocked at Boswell Road specifically. Otherwise, we got construction zones on McWright's Ferry Road extension.
And conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Check out the venue, Tuscaloosa's new favorite hangout for family and friends. That's the venue. Great eats, great events, great music, and more. You can check out, excuse me, you can check them out. They have all-day breakfast via Ramajamas, the one you come to know and love. They have a satellite location there, right there on the campus of the venue. Also, they have Liza's Sweet Shop and Feeney's Pub. So go check them out for that. Also, I want to make sure that I do not miscommunicate the fifth quarter, which they'll be hosting. It's free entry. It's food and drinks for purchase, DJ, live music, Friday night starting August 30th. This is a post-game hangout till midnight, but it's not a kids hangout. This is for family and friends, place for you to bring your kids after the big ball game and hang out there. That's the fifth quarter at the venue. So go check them out, located off of Watermelon Road, just down the road from Sokol Park. That's Brian Finnison and his team at the venue, your new favorite Tuscaloosa hangout. All right, X, we were breaking down the offensive line and the scrimmage there and what's going on there as we continue to move through this free-for-all Friday powered by the Pharmacy at Midtown. When you look at what's happening from the offensive line standpoint, you said you think it may be gelling. The team still needing to gel a little bit. It's probably a combination of all of those that I mentioned. You know, it just takes time on the offensive line. It's the hardest one to gel. Without a doubt, that's definitely part of the conversation, I would say. The other part of the conversation, X, would be I think it could be some conditioning. We have to understand. What's the name lost a lot of weight in Proctor, but he did miss a whole spring. And he probably needed to spring as much as anyone. Losing weight helps you, but reps helps you even more. And he lost an entire spring of reps in this new offense. What did he struggle with most last year?
Pass blocking.
Why? Because he couldn't understand the schemes, right? How many times did we hear Saban say, hey, he has to learn to trust that Booker's going to be there to his inside and not get beat to the outside? Okay? Well, you know, he has to learn to take those steps back. He has to learn when to switch and all that. Well, when did he work on that? When did he work on getting better at that?
He didn't have a chance to.
Yeah, he's only had a couple weeks to work on what his biggest problems were. We saw it the first game he played in, and we saw it the last game he played in. So he had all off season, but he did not get true reps until a couple weeks ago, 12, 13 practices ago, whatever number it is, right? So that's right. Part of it is the conditioning and doing it at full speed and reps. So I think that's part of the challenge too, X. And then I think the other part is I think this defense, because of the athletes they have and the number of athletes they have, the conditioning is magnified, but also I think it gives a lot of moving parts, which magnifies itself in terms of this offensive line's ability to stay and go, because the first group on defense, they may have, you know, in that 6 guys or the 4 linemen and the 2 linebackers, they may have 12 guys, 13 guys that can play. right? I mean, so you can see as the scrimmage goes along, that depth begins to magnify and multiply. So any thoughts on that? Because I want to bring up something Coach Cap said to the point that you made earlier.
Yeah, that could definitely be an issue as far as the repetition and things like that. And that's why, Bama's got 15 more days. I'm not sure about the number of practices that is, but each rep in each situation will be beneficial as they continue to try to figure things out along the offensive line as a whole.
Absolutely. Now, Coach Cap said something very interesting, X. You said you think it's going to be Wilkin. And I know from everything I've heard is that Wilkin runs out first every time, right? But Coach Cap, a lot of offensive line coach have had the same philosophy as quarterback coaches. You can't mix and match. You have to play, the starting quarterback, or you have to play the starting five. Coach Cap didn't say that the other day. Did you hear what he said?
I heard a bit of it, and I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what he said.
He literally made the statement. He said, if two guys can play, I'm going to play them. Why would I? I mean, he pretty much said, why would I have a guy who's good enough to play and not play him because of the other guy is a starter? And did you hear how he said he's going to two things that he's looking for? And it seems that he has the first one in both of these guys. And this is how the decision is going to be won. He said, can I trust him? Can I trust him? And he said that he believes he can trust Elijah Pritchett and Wilkin Formby. He said the guy who is now going to show himself to be the most physical guy will be the guy who takes the reps first. So do you lean one way or the other now that you have that information? Do you think, Elijah or Wilkin may be the more physical tackle? I think what's the name has advantage in the pass pro.
That's a good question. Wilkin is probably the more fleet-footed of the two, and you would consider. You don't
What did you just say? What did you just say?
Wilkin's the more fleet-footed of the two.
You don't have to preach on that one for a second. I disagree with that.
Really?
I think he's better in pass pro because of his length.
Maybe he's not maybe the faster of the two, but I think his footwork in pass pro is better. Let me say it like that.
Agree. Okay. All right.
Okay. That's what I meant. His footwork is better in pass pro. So I think he would be the leaning there. When it comes to that, but I think at the end of the day, man, it's I would lean Pritchett being the more physical of the two, but I think that gap is closer than the pass pro gap is.
Interesting. I think I can see that. I would say I think Pritchett has advantage potentially on the physicality, smaller body, lower body, able to get better leverage. Being 6'7", 6'8", and lean and long like Wilkin can make you block a guy, help you position the guy. But it would be harder for Wilkin just because of his size. I mean, his height to move guys out. I think Pritchett is better suited for that. But to your point, is it a big enough gap? Curtis Moore II says he thinks Elijah Pritchett will be the swing tackle. Well, I'm telling you, I would agree with that if when they went second team, Pritchett was actually running left tackle, right? Wouldn't you think if he's getting reps with the ones as the right tackle, when they went to the second team, don't you think they would have whoever your backup is at the left tackle?
You would, but from what I heard, it was Miles McVay.
It was
left tackle.
It was. That's what I'm saying. It was Miles McVay, and Pritchett was still running right tackle. So I don't know what that means or anything other than I have not heard a lot about Pritchett playing left tackle this summer. I've heard him battling a lot at right tackle. And McVay ran second team tackle at the left side. So don't know what that means, but we'll check it out. Let's get in Pat real quick. Pat, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. Good morning, Martin. You was talking about what you wanted to see at practice. I want to see quicker, better decisions by quarterbacks being able to get rid of the ball before they get cut sacks. And I just want to see, did Coach clean that up? That was one of the things that he talked about in after the last scrimmage. And that was not just Jalen, but it was all the quarterbacks. And I want to see us be able to clean up the interceptions and things too.
Yeah, and Pat, I will tell you that it wasn't as bad as you may think when it comes to cleaning that up. And a couple of those interceptions were big time plays. Like sometimes there's interceptions because the quarterback just makes bad decisions. Sometimes it's because DBs just make great cuts and jump the ball. So it's anytime you hear about turnovers and things like that, it can be a mixed bag. But I agree, based on what Coach said coming out of the scrimmage, that he wants to see better play decision-making, quicker decision-making, not necessarily better, because there's a little difference there. They may have made the right decision, Pat. They were just slow in making some of those decisions.
Yeah, it was just the biggest thing is not being way behind in the sticks. Because if you throw the ball away, hey, you go back to the original line of scrimmage.
But it wasn't just, Pat, it's not just when he's saying decisions, Pat, it's not just throwing it away. When he's saying some of that is there was times where they knew the play and they didn't. That's why he said decisive. Be more decisive in the decisions because they didn't always trust what they saw. That makes sense?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like there was times where they could have just dropped it off to the running back earlier in the progression and got 3 yards. It's not always throwing it away. Some of it was trust what you see. There's nothing there. Boom, go ahead and get rid of it to the running back, and they get 3 or 4 yards. Now you're not behind the chains.
Sure.
So it wasn't just throwing it away. That's why I want to make sure that it's not just throwing it away. It is making quicker decisions, trusting your decisions, and getting rid of it. So, all right. Hey, thanks, Pat. That's definitely
well stayed, Mr. Houston.
You too. All right. Come back on the other side. We'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. They take care of everything you need when it comes to your eyeglass needs. As we go to break here, don't forget about Dixie Battery Supply. Dixie Battery Supply, your wholesale battery supplier, Tuscaloosa locations on Greensboro, Hargrove Road, and off of 82 in Northport. They will take care of your battery needs. That's Dixie Battery Supply. Go check them out and also visit them online at DixieBatterySupply.com. They buy junk batteries. You can also reach out to them at 205-758-9190.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler. Hey, coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we're going to feature RJ Young from Fox Sports. We're going to feature Brent Beer. We're going to take your phone calls as we get you ready for scrimmage number 2. It's a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Harden Construction right here, starting at 2 p.m. on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. A heat advisory is in effect for all of West Alabama. It runs until 9 o'clock tonight. Heat indices could reach upwards of 108 degrees. Limit your outdoor time as much as possible. Stay hydrated and also do not leave people and pets unattended in a vehicle. There's also a threat for strong to severe thunderstorms this afternoon, again tomorrow afternoon. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Happy Friday to you. Expect to slow down if you're traveling on McFarland Boulevard westbound before Highway 140. But show it improve because that accident's been pushed to the left shoulder. So all those main lanes are open now. You really only have to deal with a little bit of a tug on the
Changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. Box Eye Care making sure that you have all the services you need when it comes to your eye care. Check them out at 205-342-0660. Well, we'll wrap up this, this edition of the program. X, anything just jumping out right now that you say, okay, this is what I'm going to see. This is what I want to see from Alabama in their second scrimmage?
Once again, offensive line. I think that is so key to how this season plays out. The continued rotation on the defensive side of the ball. And, with the wide receivers. And then defensively, man, how's this defensive front still looking? Who's getting more reps? Where are the reps going? And just the depth of the defensive backs.
Yeah, there's several different areas I want to look at. To me, I want to know what's going to be the identity of this team, and we'll talk more about that on Monday. More so than wanting to see a particular group. I want to see what when you watch this team, what are they going to hang their hat on? From the offensive side of the ball, is it going to be that they hang their hat on Jalen Milroe's dual threat capability, which means that we're going to have an explosive pass game and a deep ball pass game because that's his strength, right? But will we also want to pound the ball? Will we want to run the ball? Because Jalen Milroe throws a pretty deep ball regardless. First, third play of the scrimmage the other day, he threw an absolute beautiful pass to Ryan Williams, right? 50-yard touchdown. Right. What happens if you add a physical run game to that package and you're able to do play action pass? And to me, that's what I heard Coach Cap saying. We want to use the pass game, but we can offset some of the pass rush and slow people down if we have a physical run game. Your thoughts there? Right.
Yeah, that always helps. The physicality of the team will always be better for all aspects of the game. You're able to control the clock when you need to. You're able to get that short yardage when you need to. It brings a nastiness.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on who? You can name more than one if you got.
Keep
not necessarily break through top player, but keep your eye on who tomorrow.
Josh Cuevas, the tight end transfer from Washington. Keep your eyes on him. I think what the added factor that he brings to that tight end room, he's the guy to keep your eye on. I think keep your eye on I just forgot his name. Caleb Odom, and see where he's sitting in the rotation. Defensively, look at the cornerbacks as a whole. I mean, there's so much upside in that room. You talk about Xavier Brown, you talk about Jalen Mbakwe, but I think Zay Mincy, once he gets it, I think he has the highest ceiling in that room.
Yeah, well, that's some interesting guys to keep your eyes on. Keep your eyes on whether or not Young X is able to do enough to get into that rotation where you have our 2.0 version of Ingram, Richardson, Lacey. We'll check through that and see if we're able to figure that out. If those guys can get there. So that's one guy. But the group that we've not talked about all spring, all summer, the specialty group, and that's a good thing. We're not mentioning Nicholson and Bump, but the question is Burnap. The question becomes what do we do? Is that group so good we need to worry about it? Well, just go out there and watch them a little bit, because it's really cool that you're not worried about those two positions. So I would say keep your eyes on them, especially. You got anybody else you want to keep your eyes on?
I think Red Morgan, once again, we've talked about him and where he would potentially be if the hype had been there coming in. That young man is a baller. From everything I've heard, Red Morgan is definitely one of those guys too.
And as we wrap things up, I'll tell you, keep your eyes on the linebackers. Keep your eyes on the linebackers. I think that those guys, both inside and out, are guys that you can keep your eyes on. That's going to be difference makers for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Hey, that's Xavier Houston. I'm Martin Houston, and that Chase is back in studio, so we're glad to have him back. As we get out of here, I want to tell you about one of our newest sponsors, and that is Houston Hydro Clean. He and I always say he's a brother from another mother, but Houston Hydro Clean, we'll tell you more about them as we move forward. They're a sponsor of the Martin Houston Show. Quality work you can stand on. Services include carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential and commercial water damage, deodorizing, fabric protection, tile and grout cleaning, emergency service availability. Go to HoustonHydroSteam.com. HoustonHydroSteam.com. Jackie Houston and his team look forward to serving you. Welcome to the team, guys. Glad to have you as a part of the team. As we get out of here, I want to thank the great folks at Harvest Church, the church that I get the distinct privilege of pastoring. Come check us out this Sunday at 10 a.m. for worship and the word, 9 a.m. for Bible study. At Harvest Church, we're loving God and loving people, and we love the opportunity to love on you. Stop by and see us, and we'll be glad to welcome you into the fray. Hey, we'll be back on Monday to keep it rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports. We'll add Kendra Smith III to the conversation. And remember, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody.